Robert Landori, who is a phenomenal person who speaks many languages. He has a very secretive past, and he has written 2 spy thrillers, international spy thrillers. And he will be, both of these authors will be reading a little bit from their books in a few moments.
I would like to read you a little extract from my book, which is called Havana Harvest, a story about a Cuban general whom Fidel Castro tried and later had executed for having become perhaps a little bit too popular. This is on Christmas Eve in December, obviously, in Havana, Cuba. General Patricio Casas had reached the lowest point of his life. Christmas Eve in jail, far from family and friends, accused of high treason. He continued pacing up and down in his cell, 7 steps from window to steel door, and 7 steps back. What window? 3 ventilating slits that allowed some light and some sound to enter the room, but were angled so that he couldn't see out. He could hear the noise in the courtyard that he couldn't see. He could smell the smoke rising from a cooking fire, probably tended by guards. His cell measured 18 feet by 6. There was no furniture, aside from a steel-framed wooden bunk that folded down from the wall, held in position by a chain at each end. A wall at the foot of the bunk and equal in width to it separated the so-called bathroom from the sleeping area. The toilet was a hole in the ground. Above it, a tap, the end of a piece of pipe that did double duty as shower and toilet flusher. They had taken his clothes, except his underpants and loafers, and had given him beige prison overalls to wear. A toothbrush, a bar of soap, and a towel made up all the rest of his possessions. There was no bedding, just a well-used quilt for cover. His shoes served for pillows while he slept on his stomach, arms folded under his chest. He would wake up several times during the night from the pain caused by the lack of blood circulation. The food was barely adequate. 4 ounces of bread in the morning, for lunch some pasta, at times sprinkled with a little bit of meat, with the occasional slice of avocado thrown in to prevent scurvy, and 3 large soda biscuits for dinner. Casas had always been very fit and wiry, with not a single ounce of superfluous fat on his bony frame. Because in prison he had continued his disciplined regime of daily exercise, consisting of 30 minutes running in place followed by calisthenics, and then 50 push-ups, he had begun to lose weight and was starting to look emaciated. Nor were his appearance and mental conditions helped by the lack of sleep and the endless and repetitive questioning to which he was subjected almost daily. He felt alone in the world, in semi-darkness when in his cell, isolated between interrogation sessions and surrounded by guards who would not speak to him. He never saw his fellow inmates, even when they took him and them out for questioning. The guard accompanying him would whistle tunelessly, and on hearing the tuneless whistling of another guard-prisoner combination, would push Casas's face into the nearest corner, nose against the wall, while the other prisoner passed behind his back. Because Casas was right-handed, his guards always stood to the left of him, just in case. Nor did they wear sidearms. If a prisoner wanted to make a run for it, they would let him. The cell blocks were sealed by steel grills at each end, and there was no way out. It seemed to Casas that his cell was getting colder as the days went by. Then he realized that this was only an illusion. It only felt that way because he was losing weight, not sleeping, worrying, and afraid of dying. Dying for nothing. Dying would prevent him from defending himself against the accusation that as a CIA agent, he was working to destroy the revolution and Cuba's fatherland. He had no idea what was being said about him by the common people in the street. The authorities had allowed him no contact with his family, and the lawyer appointed to defend him had been given permission to speak with him only once, 2 weeks after his arrest. The guard rapped on his door. "Prisoner 2704, step away from the door." He did. And to his surprise, the door swung open. The guard deposited an open paper box on the floor just inside the cell. "It is from your mother. Feliz Navidad." The solid metal door clanged shut.